reason of the haziness of the chest X-ray. Now, edema is easily recognized grossly and microscopically and most commonly seen in subcutaneous tissues, lungs, and the brain. We will be seeing the picture, inshallah. Now, distribution is influenced by the gravity and it is called as a dependent edema. Gravity pulls the edema fluid downwards. So, if a person is standing, edema fluid will be downwards towards his legs, or if he is lying on bed, the sacrum portion near the sacrum bone, the edema will be there. If you press edema matters portion of the body with a finger and it leaves like a hole, it is called as pitting edema. We will see in the picture. Now, this is the picture, inshallah. In future, you will be checking the like this in your clinics and your labs. So this is an example of pitting edema. So here in this patient, what you do, you press live with the thumb on the tibia and you can see here a hole is made. So this type of edema is called as pitting edema. And this in this patient, the problem is something else. It looks like edema. So when you press here, maybe this is a case of mixed edema. And if you press, there is no hole. So this is non-pitting edema. Now, edema as a result of renal dysfunction can affect all parts of the body. Now, those things, for example, if the kidney is affected, the edema will be present in whole of the body. So, in such a patient, there will be high BP, there will be periorbital edema. Similarly, pulmonary edema we saw in the chest X-ray, how it looks like. There is whole haziness of the lungs. And the sectioning, if we cut the lung, we will see fluid. Then brain edema can also occur, and it can be to a local portion of brain or it can be general portion of the brain. With generalized edema, the brain is grossly swollen with narrowed sulci and distended gyri. Now, this is a picture of normal brain, and this is a picture of uh, edematous brain. Here you see the gyri and the sulci. The gyri, they are enlarged and the sulci, they are less prominent. So this is a case of edema of the brain. Now this is a patient with periorbital edema. Maybe the probable cause is due to nephrotic syndrome of the kidney. So it is a generalized edema and it can cause edema over whole of the body, and the cause is kidney problem, and we call this as NSR. Now, edema can also occur in the skin. This is the normal histology of the skin. This is the keratin, and this is the epidermis, and this is the dermis. And in case if there is edema in the skin, these cells, these squamous cells, they separate from each other, and edema is present, edematous fluid is present in between these cells. Now, this is the, we studied the transudative effusion and the exudative fluid. So this is the, and this is the picture, this is the transudate, this is the chylous thoracic duct obstruction. This fluid is taken out of the lymphatics, and this is the lymphatics. This is more whitish, remember it. Now these three tubes, they contain the three fluids, and we need to identify in the hospital which fluid could be like what. So let us see. Yes. Now this is transudative effusion, and the color is not that pinkish or not that white, is because this transudative is less in protein. But here you see it is more opaque like exudative effusion, because exudate has a large amount of protein in it. Okay, so this is more hazy, and this is chylous effusion. It is due to the obstruction of the lymphatic vessels, and the color is white. Then there are the complications of the edema. I request at this point, I request all of you to again to mark your attendance in the chat box along with your name and ID. So it could be easily taken. Write your attendance in the chat box, name, ID, and whether you are the Vadmi student or whether you are Chakra student. Now, complications of the edema. If there is edema, what is the mushkil? What is the problem? The problem is, if there is edema, it can accumulate in the lung system, and where we call it as pulmonary edema. And if there is pulmonary edema, we know that lungs is a portion where gas exchange takes place. If there is pulmonary edema, then there will be it will impede the oxygen diffusion. Similarly, edema in the pleural cavity is called as pleural effusion. If there is pleural effusion, it can compress the lungs. It can compress the lungs, and again there will be problem. Similarly, peritoneal effusion, edema in the peritoneal cavity is called as ascites, and uh, it can create again a problem, and infection can occur. Similarly, brain edema is life threatening. Why? Because if the brain, uh, if there is brain edema, we all know that brain is in the skull and brain cannot expand. So if there is edema of the brain, so there will be compression of the brain by the skull bones, because it cannot have enough space. So there will be permanent damage to the brain. Now, all of you hold on till I record your attendance, and all of you, I know that you have marked your attendance, uh, but I need to save this uh, chat box.
Doctor, have you taken the attendance?
No, no, please hold on, kindly hold on, because the number of students are very large. So give me the Kika Fakat so that I take the attendance.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, all of you. Have a good day.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.